Heading out to my garden, I watered the hyacinths I had planted with such care in our first year of marriage. Leon used to give me those purple blossoms often, knowing they were my favorite. That was back when we couldn't peel ourselves away from each other, in the blissful months after the birth of our son, Ethan, when our laughter echoed off the walls of our cramped university apartment. Leon and I had been classmates, drawn together through late-night study sessions fueled by vending machine snacks. A decade later, here we were, settled down in a two-story craftsman-style house, my marketing career taking off while Leon rapidly climbed the ranks at his tech firm. Things had changed so much so fast, yet traces of our old affinity remained like faint echoes, like when I'd find post-it love notes stuck to the bathroom mirror, or how Leon would wink at me covertly during neighborhood block parties, reminding me of flirtatious gestures from our university days. "Mommy, when will the fishes wake up?" Ethan peered into our garden pond, interrupting my reverie. At age 5, everything captivated his curiosity. I ruffled his blonde mop affectionately. "Oh, early in the morning, sweetie. Do you want to put some food for them?" Ethan nodded eagerly as I handed him the fish food tin. My phone rang, displaying the office admin's number. As I took the call, assuring my team I would review the product launch presentation shortly, I noticed Leon's car pulling into the driveway earlier than expected. He had been getting home unusually early this past month. Through the window, I observed Leon pick up the pile of mail and head inside without glancing my way. Strange, just last year he would have stopped to listen to Ethan's latest animal facts or to sneak up behind me for a surprise bear hug. When had this distance between us begun creeping in? As deadlines accelerated at work in my promotion to senior marketing consultant, Leon also rapidly advanced at his tech firm Adequate, recently made partner and branch manager. We congratulated each other during rushed dinners, our conversations transactional instead of connection. The laughter echoing off cramped walls replaced by tense silence in a house that now felt cold and hollow, despite its vaulted ceilings. I sighed. Perhaps this disconnect was temporary. Maybe we could reignite that old spark. Taking Ethan's little hand in mine, we headed inside to greet Leon, hoping at least to coax a smile from my once effusive husband. The months dragged on, and still that distance between Leon and I persisted, no matter how many date nights or weekend getaways I tried to plan for us. "You seem distracted lately," I confronted him one evening as we cleaned up after dinner. "Is everything okay at work?" "It's just the merger preparations, a lot more meetings, you know," Leon replied vaguely, not meeting my eyes. I wondered if Leon confided in me the way he used to. Lately, his responses felt clipped, his eyes constantly drifting to his phone, lighting up with work messages, or so he claimed. The truth was, I could hardly blame Leon for being preoccupied. As a marketing VP, 80-hour work weeks were my new normal. I barely made it to Ethan's Taekwondo graduations or swim lessons. One Saturday, I dragged myself to Ethan's playground meetup, suppressing yawns after pulling my third all-nighter that week. Distracted by work calls, I didn't even notice Ethan climbing too high on the monkey bars until a shriek jolted me upright. Rushing over in horror, I saw Ethan clutching his wrist, face scrunched up in pain. Heart pounding, I fished out my phone to call Leon and let him know we were headed to urgent care. "Hey, I can't talk now. About to head into an investor meeting," Leon said briskly. In the background, I thought I heard loud music thumping. "Leon, Ethan fell and hurt himself. I think his wrist might be broken," I forced out, hugging a sobbing Ethan with my free arm. "Oh no. Well, you've got this covered, right? Call me once you know more," Leon replied after a pause. Before I could respond, he hurriedly said goodbye and hung up. I stared at my phone in disbelief. The old Leon would have rushed to drive us to the clinic himself. As Ethan continued crying pitifully, I smoothed back his hair, plastering on a brave smile. "It's going to be okay. Let's get you checked out," I soothed. Inside, I seethed at Leon's apathy. What investor meeting was happening with dance music playing? He was definitely hiding something. After this, I was getting to the bottom of Leon's secrecy and bizarre detachment once and for all. My heels clacked loudly as I strode into Adeque's lobby, dressed sharply for the meeting I called with Leon. Brusquely informed by reception that my husband had taken the day off, I demanded to meet with his boss, ready to give Leon a piece of my mind later. Mr. Wyatt, Leon's manager, ushered me into his office looking grim. "Leon didn't mention you were stopping by. Did you two have plans?" I shook my head. I wanted to discuss Leon's recent frequent absences. The day my son broke his wrist, Leon claimed he had an investor meeting, but I don't think that's where he was. Mr. Wyatt raised his eyebrows but said nothing. I took a deep breath and continued. "Please be forthright. Has Leon been lying about his whereabouts?" Mr. Wyatt shifted uncomfortably. "Leon is a valued team member, so we haven't scrutinized his outings. I suggest you speak to him directly." Fuming at his non-answer, I stalked out. So, Leon's superiors were enabling his charade too. That night, I picked Ethan up early from aftercare, his blue cast like an accusation against Leon. We stopped at the supermarket for ice cream and snacks to drown my sorrows after confronting my deceitful husband. The frozen foods aisle TV screen flashed to a local segment about charity fundraisers. Grape popsicle dripping down his hand, Ethan suddenly gasped loudly, "Mommy, that's Olivia's mommy!" I peered up to see Leon smiling into the camera, clinking champagne glasses poolside with an attractive brunette in a sundress. The caption identified her as Vivian Kingston from Ethan's school. As they giggled together, Leon pulled her closer, nuzzling her neck. The popsicle slipped from my limp fingers. So, this was the woman Leon kept rendezvousing with behind my back, abandoning his wife and son? Red-hot fury surged through me as the newscaster praised the pair's generous donations to children's charities while they canoodled on vacation. Laughing bitterly, I whipped out my phone to record the damning footage, the evidence I needed of Leon's despicable betrayal. This showed why Leon shrugged off Ethan's injury. He and his mistress clearly had better things to do than attend to his broken son. Swallowing angry tears, I erased the dripping, sticky mess off the floor. At least now the wool was lifted from my eyes. Leon would have a lot to answer for when he slunk back from this little tryst. And Ms. Vivian too, once I stormed down to that school to give her a piece of my mind. Outraged mother to outraged mother. Oh yes, those two backstabbers had no idea what they'd unleashed. The recording of Leon and Vivian played on a loop in my mind over the next few days. I had confronted Leon and predictably, he gaslit me, claiming the footage was misleading, and that Vivian was just a work friend. "I can't keep having this same fight, Elaine," Leon insisted tiredly. "You're imagining things." I knew I needed concrete proof before I could get any real answers, which was why today I found myself seated across from Desmond Kingston at Angelo's Trattoria, picking at the breadbasket. I had introduced myself to Olivia's dad at last week's school open house. After catching him gazing at Leon and Vivian's photograph in the fundraising showcase, a light bulb went off. I suggested we talk. Desmond's eager nod confirmed my hunch. I wasn't alone in my suspicions regarding our spouses. Desmond revealed Leon's secret outings and extended work trips mirrored Vivian's excuses perfectly. 6 months ago, she became completely distracted, disinterested in family time, he shared. I shuddered as he described Vivian and Leon's bizarre, synchronized schedule changes. Do you think they could be having an affair?" I ventured. Desmond paled but nodded reluctantly. "I didn't want to believe it either, but we need to figure this out, for our family's sake," he said firmly, a determined glint in his eyes. Over wine and pasta, we established timelines, traded conspiracy theories about the new school Acorn Club Leon and Vivian supervised. If our cheating spouses thought they could just waltz into the sunset without consequences, they had another thing coming. Desmond and I would get to the bottom of the deception, no matter what it took. Under the table, my foot nudged accidentally against Desmond's. I felt sparks shoot up my leg and suppressed a gasp at the tingles. An indignant inner voice that sounded disturbingly like Leon shouted that my marriage vows preceded any attraction. Ignoring the sparks, I smiled thinly at Desmond and stated coolly, "Well, partner, let's get digging into Leon and Vivian's sordid secrets." Desmond returned a small smile back, his warm eyes crinkling. My heart quickened as I tried focusing again on exposing those two cheaters. The next few weeks were a flurry of late-night phone calls and midday coffee shop stakeouts with Desmond as we surveilled our suspicious spouses. My family, colleagues at work, everyone noticed my distraction as I channeled a single-minded devotion to unmasking Leon and Vivian's deception. "Here, I compiled their text message records," Desmond whispered, sliding printed sheets across the corner booth table to me at Serendipity Cafe, where we often synced up on investigation findings. My eyes widened reading the intimate notes they had exchanged. I swallowed the lump in my throat and blinked back tears, moving the paper aside. Was I still holding out hope that Leon would have a reasonable explanation? That what we suspected wasn't true? Desmond gently covered my hand with his, looking at me empathetically. Ignoring the jolt his touch triggered, I quickly retracted my palm. "I'm fine," I muttered. "We still need concrete proof." The next day, we got lucky. I overheard Ethan prattling happily to his friend Olivia about joining their parents again for the special Acorn camping trip that weekend. Alarm bells sounded in my brain. When I pressed Ethan for details, he mentioned seeing his daddy tickling Ms. Kingston in her tent. "Tent? Special camping?" I repeated in disbelief. Ethan, sensing my anger wasn't at him, scurried away, lip trembling. I pulled Desmond into the hallway, quickly confirming neither of us knew about any sanctioned school camping event. 2 hours later, we had followed Vivian's sedan and were crouching in shrubbery with binoculars and cameras aimed at Leon unzipping her tent and slipping inside, never to emerge until dawn. Boiling fury coursed through me, seeing irrefutable confirmation of my husband cheating displayed right before my eyes. Beside me, Desmond shook silently. Whether from rage or grief, I couldn't say. Impulsively, I grasped his hand this time, threading my fingers firmly through his. Desmond turned to me, the sheen of tears in his eyes matching mine. Without overanalyzing, I leaned forward, brushing my lips gently over his. I barely registered the drive back from the woods after that illicit kiss with Desmond. My mind spun, trying to reconcile the damning sight of Leon and Vivian tangled together in the tent with my impulsive lip lock with Desmond. At home, Leon was still not back from his camping retreat. I checked on a red-eyed Ethan. He sniffled that Daddy had promised to help him build a treehouse this weekend. My anger reignited remembering Leon's broken pledge. My phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. Warily, I answered. "Elaine Thompson?" a distorted voice inquired. Before I could respond, they continued. "Your husband Leon is in grave danger. Vivian Kingston is not who she claims to be." I nearly dropped the phone in shock. The voice quickly elaborated that Vivian was allegedly part of an underground spy ring selling classified intel, implicating Leon in her crimes unknowingly. I sank into the couch, head spinning again. Could this shocking claim possibly be valid? Just then, Leon stumbled in reeking of alcohol. Taking in my incredulous expression, he looked vaguely panicked. "Elaine, did you get a strange call too? Vivian is not who I thought—" He began rambling desperately before I cut him off. "Save it! I know what you two have been doing behind our backs all this time," I hissed scornfully. Leon paled. "It's not just an affair. I'm in trouble. We both are," he implored. I silenced him with a sharp glare. Whatever his excuses, they meant nothing now. I rang Desmond, demanding an urgent meet. At the cafe, Olivia coincidentally spotted us, tugging Desmond aside curiously before he redirected her inside for hot chocolate. I observed Olivia gazing back at me with strange knowingness as they walked in that gave me chills. For all Vivian's mind games seducing Leon into whatever illegal trade she was running, our children had clearly sensed something sinister brewing within their close-knit world. Well before Desmond and I caught on, we would get to the bottom of this mystery, for their sake. Over the next few weeks, the ramifications of Leon and Vivian's deception rippled out like shock waves. At work, I struggled to keep it together, maintaining a polished veneer during tense meetings and tight-lipped employee check-ins regarding my impending separation from Leon. Inside, I grappled with anger, betrayal, and confusion over how blind I'd been to Leon's double life and Vivian's career in espionage. Had he ever truly loved me and our son? Were our 10 years together now proven to be a sham? My work, usually a refuge offering a sense of control when personal life chaotic, now reminded me of Leon's similar dedication climbing the ladder at Adequate. I doubted myself, constantly second-guessing even small decisions in the office, perhaps a symptom of the broken trust I was nursing at home. In the neighborhood, curtains twitched as speculation ran wild over what caused the implosion of our family. Poor Ethan was teased mercilessly by boys at school once word spread that his father left us for another woman. During one rough night, Ethan crawled into my bed clutching his stuffed penguin, Mr. Wiggles, that Leon had gifted him years ago, his hot tears soaking my nightshirt. "Daddy always said he'd be around forever with us, Mommy," he whimpered. Why would he lie? My own tears flowed freely as I smoothed back golden curls from his crumpled face, wishing I could erase his pain. At our weekend counseling appointments, the therapist gently encouraged Leon to share more about Vivian's background and their affair's escalation. But Leon stayed frustratingly mum, only pleading again for my forgiveness. As he prattled, I thought with a pang about texting Desmond for comfort, but stopped myself. I couldn't further complicate this mess, not yet, at least. Somehow we would need to pick up the shattered pieces scattered by Leon and Vivian's callousness. I only prayed the splintered remains could be molded into something bearing faint resemblance once more to the wholeness we once shared as a family. I flipped through the divorce documents one last time before placing them in the mailbox, the definitive motion I once believed I'd never have reason to take. Leon's signature already glared in stark black ink across the pages. My soon-to-be ex-husband had moved out last month, per the therapist's gentle recommendation. Without Leon's daily presence, the house felt hollow as a haunted hayride attraction once October rolled around. Ethan's excited chatter about Halloween costumes, no longer eliciting Leon's dramatic fake screams of terror from behind sofa cushions. I still saw Vivian occasionally, dropping Olivia off at school gate with dark sunglasses shrouding her face. According to Desmond, she had quit her consulting job, drowned in legal troubles battling espionage charges. Oddly enough, both Vivian and Leon had redirected energy towards community service. Leon coached Ethan's soccer league on weekends while Vivian hosted talks at women's shelters about escaping domestic abuse, perhaps attempting to heal the damage enabled by their indiscretions. During one counseling session, Leon revealed Vivian had seduced and slowly ensnared him as retaliation against her controlling ex-boyfriend. "I became dependent, lost myself," he admitted, shamefaced. I stayed stone-faced, still unable to fully forgive his months of deception despite understanding Vivian's manipulations. The holidays arrived and I immersed myself in festive bustle, determined not to crumble. Baking cookies with Ethan, shopping for his mountain of gifts. The Navigator radio played round-the-clock Christmas tunes. I sang along loudly to cover the gaping hole of Leon's absence. Once I tucked a candy cane-buzzed Ethan into bed Christmas Eve, I finally allowed hot tears to spill. Outside, church bells pealed joyfully, heralding tidings of comfort and joy, but my heart grieved all I had loved and lost. Someday, perhaps reconciliation could come, but tonight, I would simply allow myself to feel the sorrow of dreams dashed, of starting over solo when I had expected Leon by my side for life's adventures, for this Christmas and many more, besides, not perfect, just present together. I tapped my foot impatiently in the school parking lot waiting for Ethan. He was taking longer than usual to emerge after art club. I just wanted to get home to peel off my work pantsuit and de-stress after a packed week of client meetings and presentations. As I was about to call Ethan, I noticed Desmond striding towards me, his handsome face uncharacteristically grim. My pulse quickened. We had barely interacted since our emotionally charged kiss months ago, while staked out in the woods exposing our spouse's affair. "Elaine, there's something you need to see," Desmond said without preamble, clasping my wrist and steering me towards the sports field. My stomach dropped seeing squad cars encircling the area. 2 police officers seemed to be detaining and questioning a defiant Vivian. Desmond quickly explained that just as he was leaving work, he overheard chatter about officers descending on the school to apprehend the art teacher, Ms. Leyland, on suspicion of operating an explosives smuggling ring. My eyes bugged out. Our children's mousy art teacher mixed up in explosives deals? Apparently, during interrogation, Ms. Leyland had revealed her operation's clandestine machinations, including enlisting Vivian's consultancy services. To my horror, a sullen Ethan and tearful Olivia were also being gently questioned in the corner by a female officer based on concerning details found in their art projects. My mind spun with this outlandish twist. Had Vivian's overseas spy ring dealings been more deeply rooted on home turf under our very noses than any of us realized? Is that why she and Leon had grown so close to our children? I shuddered imagining how much deeper their betrayal could have cut our families. Desmond and I clung to each other shaking, the full impact sinking in. Around us, other parents emerged, equally shocked that a place harboring sweet childhood creations held such insidious secrets. Staring into each other's eyes, Desmond and I wordlessly acknowledged that after weathering this storm, we owed it to ourselves and our families to stop repressing our burgeoning connection and have an honest talk about what we both desired moving forward. In the months following the art teacher's arrest and Vivian's charges, the dust slowly settled, allowing our community to heal. Extensive therapy helped the children process any trauma from being unwittingly entangled in the adults' deceitful dealings. Leon and I established a cordial co-parenting rhythm, communicating calmly about Ethan's needs. One day after soccer practice, I smiled seeing father and son giggling together, the gaping distance between them closed once more. Leon waved, his grin still tinged with remnants of shame, but his eyes showed renewed hope. My relationship with Desmond deepened into a nurturing partnership built on trust and understanding. With Olivia's blessing, we blended our families, creating new traditions filled with laughter around the dinner table. Gone were furtive glances and secrecy. Instead, a feeling of wholeness blossomed. Once legal dealings concluded, Leon moved abroad for a fresh start at another tech firm. He video-called Ethan nightly, sending exotic candy and trinkets in his care packages. I found peace knowing Leon had found purpose channeling his technical skills more ethically. As for Vivian, she served community service teaching art therapy to troubled youth. I'll never forget Ethan somberly handing me his first painting from her class, a phoenix with the words, "Hope is born from ashes," inscribed below. The instructor remarked gently that pain can give birth to unexpected hope, resilience forged from adversity's flames. Perhaps she referred to my little boy discovering his artistic side thanks to her tutelage. But I sensed wisdom extending far beyond the canvas to hearts rebuilding out of the wreckage.